It's Monday. Welcome into another episode of Get Boosted on Shot Callers Esports. Eric Kummel here with Matt Hempstead. And it's about a week in to the League of Legends offseason now, and there has been a flurry of moves, but there's still pretty juicy moves coming in right now. Svenskeren, earlier today, announced that he's joining Cloud9. Actually, Cloud9 announced that Svenskeren is joining them, and that's just another ex-TSM member going to one of their rival teams. There's going to be a lot of revenge games this upcoming split.
Yeah, first double lift to TSM, or not to TSM, to Team Liquid.
Yep.
And then Biofrost to CLG. And now Svenskeren to Cloud9. All their biggest rivals now have a former TSM member. Like, they didn't need enough ammo already. They just got a little bit more. But yeah, Svenskeren to Cloud9 is the latest news. And it's pretty massive because we know that Contractz left for Golden Guardians and this interesting roster that's kind of underwhelming at first glance. We'll touch on that roster later. But they desperately need a jungler. And there was talks about Trashy rejecting an offer from Cloud9, Janko's, Peanut, all in that discussion. You must have thought Cloud9 had something in mind. Turns out it's Svenskeren from TSM going over to Cloud9. Interesting move, and we'll see if Sven can get back to form that he didn't really have with TSM in Summer and at Worlds.
Yeah, and I am very interested how this whole contract situation actually went down with C9 because, I mean, this is a guy who probably had some potential to be the best jungler in NA this split. He's a young guy, and he really showcased his talents on C9. So why did he go to Golden Guardians? A pretty underwhelming roster. Obviously, I'm sure he got a lot of money, but I mean, he was under contract with C9 going into 2018. So clearly C9 had to let him go. And if they didn't have a super solid plan in place, it's a little questionable. But I think they're very happy that they did get Svenskeren, and maybe even happy that Trashy turned them down.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they'd be pretty desperate at first glance when you heard the Trashy news, and it's like,
Oy.
oh God, if Trashy turned you down, then you must be scooping the bottom of the barrel there. So they were almost stuck with Wiggly Licorice topside of the map, which is what they want for their challenger roster, not so much their
You
main
don't want
roster.
Wiggly Licorice. You want the straight licorice that has no wiggles.
You want
That's the
Svenskeren Licorice, which
Yes.
everyone knows about. But yeah, it's an interesting roster now. I mean, people were wondering what's going on. Is Licorice going to be the starter? Now it looks like he will be. I mean,
Definitely.
because Impact left, I think they wanted to bring him back. But now with all that happening, Contract's gone. Import slot now in the jungle and the mid lane, and Licorice will likely be the starting top laner. And we'll see what Svenskeren can do, if he can kind of feel like Contract's role and go back to his aggressive ways, because we all know the TSM meme of, hey, you're now a ward in our jungle, stay away from the mid lane, and just, you know, give me vision. But now it's Svenskeren's going to have to do what Contractz did and get Jensen going in that mid lane, try to fill that role. So it's an interesting move, and I think Svenskeren's going to do very well in Cloud9.
Yeah, I think people are kind of just, because he had a bit of a down split with TSM, it's like, oh no, C9 has to have Svenskeren, they're screwed, Svenskeren sucks. But I mean, this guy does not suck. Even when he wasn't playing at his best on TSM, he's still one of the top junglers, one of the top, four guys in NA. So yeah, I think going into a whole new atmosphere, a new team environment, I think he'll really be able to kind of showcase his former strengths. And I think Jensen's a lot more aggressive in lane than Bjergsen, which will kind of help out Svenskeren in there. And there's already nicknames you can come up with for them.
Jenskeren.
Jenskeren.
Svensson?
There's too many Svens and Vens. And that's the good news here, is now we have Sven and Sven in the same league.
Oh no.
Again. So you're going to be hearing them getting confused in these C9 TSM matchups.
Yeah, when they played at Rift Rivals, it was
a mess.
very confusing. I'm not ready for that again. But to confirm, Svenskeren to Cloud9 is confirmed. Cloud9 announced it on their Twitter, and TSM also said goodbye to Svenskeren. It's been a lot of goodbyes, man. A lot of teary goodbyes from a lot of teams saying so long. Some long-time members.
Yeah, and I got to touch on these farewell videos that are basically being made after anyone moves on to another team.
Anybody.
I mean, listen, Aphromoo, he's been there for 5 years on CLG. So sure, that's a deserved farewell video. I mean, Reignover, he was there for an underwhelming year on Team Liquid. 2 9th place finishes. You don't really need a massive tribute video. And the main thing with these farewell videos is it looks like they died. It doesn't look like they moved to a new team. It looks like they are dead because they're so emotional and sad for some of these guys. It's like their career is still going. They're still alive. They're on this planet. So chill out with the farewells.
Has anyone seen Aphromoo lately?
That's a good point.
He's MIA.
He was streaming the other day, but it was just his chair.
It was a VOD.
It was a VOD, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's definitely gone. But I mean, Svenskeren, interesting move. I don't know what happened. We seem to gone off track there, but
well, talking about Aphromoo.
All right,
CLG.
make the hard transition. There you go.
yeah, I don't know where you're going with this, so we're just going to go over to CLG. Aphromoo is no longer there, as we just mentioned. 5 years he was with the team, he moves on, and coming in to replace him is another XTSM member, now XTSM member, Biofrost. And now you've got the Biofrost Stixay bottom lane, which is the younger partners of the old Rush Hour lane.
Very confusing.
Very confusing, and now people are dubbing them Shanghai Noon. You like that nickname?
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
I respect it.
You respect the nickname Shanghai
Yes.
Noon. Okay, that's a weird thing to respect.
I respect it.
But there's a CLG roster now, and that's looking like a pretty top tier team, I'd say.
I mean, when you heard Aphromoo was leaving, there was a lot of panic from the CLG fans, but you replace him with a guy like Biofrost, who at worst is even, I would say. In some situations, I think Biofrost is preferred because you look at last split and last year, Aphromoo was not on his A game whatsoever, Eric. I mean, getting caught out, being on different wavelengths from his teammates. So I really like Biofrost here to join this team as a stable support who can make plays when he needs to, and Rainover to take over that aggressive role that Aphromoo kind of had being a playmaker. So I think it's a pretty solid team, and who is the staple that brings it all together in that mid lane. One of the most improved players over the past couple of years. So I think it's a top 4 unit for sure, at least top 4.
Yeah, I think the main thing they'll miss with Aphromoo, I think, mechanically, the edge probably goes to Biofrost, but obviously Aphromoo's been a vocal leader on that team for many years now and really took over as the face of the franchise once Doublelift left. So I think Darshan's a guy who's been very communication focused on the squad. I think he's going to take another step forward doing that, and obviously Rainover, a guy's going to come in who can help with those shot calling duties, but it'll be a bit of a change there for the core of CLG that's been there for the last few years. But I think over time they'll be able to adjust, and that's going to be a blessing for Rainover playing with this roster as opposed to Team Liquid. So yeah, CLG going to be one of the top squads for sure.
I definitely think so. And again, Aphromoo leaving, oh no, it's over. It's not over, everybody. It's quite all right. I mean, the question is, where's Aphro going to go now? Because you look at some of the vacancies out there, there's not much. There's not much for Aphro. No. I mean, the only open support spot is 100 Thieves. Other than that, everyone's got someone taken. And the question is, does one of these other organizations be like, you know what, we signed support, but he's garbage. Let's go get Aphromoo. And there's a couple of teams that come to mind, Eric, but I don't really want to flame anybody.
It's pretty harsh for a team to do that, especially if you're just coming in to franchising, just coming into the NALCS, and you're like, you know what, I know we signed you 5 days ago, but this guy is actually better than you, and we kind of want him. So see ya. You can play on the academy team. Have fun.
Enjoy.
You'll never start. So that'd be a little harsh. But, I mean, these top 4 teams, and I think it's pretty consensus that the top 4 teams are TSM, CLG, C9, and Liquid, which is basically 2015 CLG plus Impact and Olay or Immortals. It's a weird hybrid of Immortals, CLG guys, but they look pretty solid. And those are far and away the top 4 squads so far based on these rosters. I was a little hesitant maybe what was going to go on with C9 before they signed Svenskeren, but I think that's a pretty good sub in for Contractz. I think you'd still rather have Contractz, but Svenskeren's pretty solid there. Now the main question mark's probably going to be Licorice.
Yeah, that's definitely the main question mark, but at the same time, I think he's going to be fine. They're just not going to leave him on an island like Impact was most of the time. I think Sven will give him a bit of help like he did to Hanser quite a lot, actually. So
one gank a game. That's all you get.
That's it, yeah. If you don't do enough with that gank, then you don't deserve the attention, Eric. But yeah, you mentioned those top 4 guys. I think CLG's right up in there. Team Liquid might take a while to get going because they've made a lot of changes, but at the same time, they've all played together before.
At some point, yeah. I mean, 3 of them played last split. Again, we talked about this. I don't know, RX Smithy and Pobelt are happy to have Doublelift on the team. Who knows? I don't know what the relationship is going on.
It's a weird dynamic.
It's a very weird dynamic. There aren't very many actual open spots left. You kind of alluded to it with Aphromoo. Basically, 100 Thieves has their bottom lane that they have to figure out. And come on, it's got to be Cody Sun and probably Aphromoo going into that spot, right?
I would think so. I mean, what else really is there? I mean, Cody Sun we already know he's been transferred somewhere as per Team Liquid. So if you're doing the detective work, there's only one open spot for one guy who's been transferred. Yep. Cody Sun's going to 100 Thieves and Afro. I'd be shocked if he didn't sign with them, just purely on, again, that's the only spot available. Unless he decides to go to the streaming route, which it seems to be pretty popular. So that seems like the logical conclusion for me anyways. 100 Thieves, Cody Sun, Aphromoo joining Ryu, Meteos, and Someday.
Yeah, and outside of that, 100 Thieves bottom lane. What else is left? So now that the C9 jungler spot's taken, it's pretty much Echo Fox in the top lane. No one signed there, but they have been pretty heavily linked to Hooni coming over. Back from SKT, back to NA. He's heavily linked there. Obviously, there was that C9 stuff where he made his Instagram page, C9's new top laner, then quickly deleted it. Pretty sure he's just memeing.
It's impossible for him to be going to Cloud9 now.
Now it definitely is.
Yeah, unless Jensen's leaving. I'm not starting that rumor. That was me.
Bring him out. But then their backup mid laner's also an import.
Yeah.
So
great.
They screwed themselves. They can't get Hooni now. Way to go, Cloud9.
Yeah.
But I'm impressed that this many rosters, in NA at least, have filled out in a week. I thought this maybe would have dragged out for a while longer, but I mean, they started filling up rapid fire, and these are like pretty much full rosters. Some of them aren't fully finalized. You don't have official releases from teams yet, but I mean, they look pretty finalized.
I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, it's just Echo Fox in that top lane, which looks like it's going to be Hooni, at least based on initial talks. I know they're in discussion to bring him over from SKT. So I guess he's now a free agent. So that looks like it might be the final one there. And then you mentioned the Cody Sun, Aphromoo bot lane, potentially on 100 Thieves, unless something else crazy happens that we don't expect. That's it. After that, we're done. All the rosters are complete, Eric. It's pretty quick.
Now, we talked about the top 4 teams. But who do we think are those top 3? Because, you know, people like to narrow it down to 3. Who's the one out of the 4 that you would slide out of there? It's hard to say at the moment because obviously they're all new rosters.
Yeah.
Like everyone has they all have at least 2, right? Yeah, they all have at least 2 new guys coming into that roster. And anytime it's more than one, there's going to be a lot of adjustments that have to be made. But I mean, on initial impact, I just feel like this TSM one at the very least is going to steamroll.
I think right away it's going to be a pretty powerful lineup. But I know people are like, oh, Mike Young might be a weak link on this team. And a lot of TSM fans are saying Sven and Mithy's a downgrade, which is pretty absurd thing to say. And yeah, you can argue that they got bashed at Rift Rivals, but I don't really care too much. That was when G2 was having their worst performance going into that tournament, and they carried it over, and then they began to pick it up again after that. So I'm not too concerned about a Rift Rivals performance because we saw Phoenix 1 almost be the team to represent North America. And we saw the LPL beat the LCK. So you can't just take everything you see at Rift Rivals and make it fact. So as for the G2 bot lane going to TSM, I think it's a great move, and I think TSM right away will be pretty successful. I'm going to slide Cloud9 out of the top 4 for now. I know that was a team that me and you said was going to win the split, but that's when we thought they would have pretty much the exact same roster.
A lot changed, yeah.
And now there's a lot of question marks. Being Licorice in the top lane as a rookie, might take a while for him to get comfortable. And then Svenskeren, how's he going to interact with all his new laners? Sometimes bringing in a jungler can be a pretty tough transition to make.
Yeah, I think Immortals might be the one that's...
Immortals?
Yeah, Immortals, you know. Remember Immortals, guys?
Yeah,
Good
they're gone.
Rest in peace. I think Liquid.
There you go.
The other jersey, you know, our 2 jerseys. I think Liquid, it's going to take them definitely a while to kind of get rolling. And I know, like, the league's going to be so different this year. Even if you rolled out the exact same Immortals lineup as last year that finished runners-up, I don't know if they do as well because of this competition so much higher coming into this one. And I think with a couple of changes to kind of tinker this lineup, I know Double Lift and Impact are both probably upgrades over Cody Sun and Flame, but I think it'll just take them a bit to get the gel going. I don't really know what that means, but I think the top other three are a little above Team Liquid, and then they're in 4th, and the meme can live on.
So we both like CLG's new roster.
I like CLG's new roster quite a bit.
Yeah, I do too. I think Rainover is
slide right in number 2.
Rainover is an upgrade over Omar God, guys. Believe it or not.
I would agree.
Pretty crazy, and the whole Aphromoo thing might be blown out of proportion. So we'll see.
We'll see. There's all these 3 spots that are left open. Is there any chance some of these like Aphromoo, Cody Sun, and Hooni? What are the chances these guys aren't filling out these roster spots? Like, why don't they just announce it? Why is 100 Thieves so quiet with this bottom lane? We know it's going to be those 2, right?
You would think so. I mean, there's other options, I guess, for support there. X Special's still out there.
That's about it.
That's about it. There's really not much when you look at who's free, and they already used 2 import slots. AD Carry's already been ripped apart. Even Deftly's already on a roster, who was on Challenger Series with United last year. So there's really not much left. It pretty much has to be Cody Sun and Aphromoo. I don't know why they haven't announced it yet, or who knows, maybe they're just really struggling to find somebody and Aphro's not interested. But yeah, I mean, as you said, it's pretty much confirmed. In terms of, as far as not being confirmed goes, it's confirmed. Because that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the Cody Sun, it doesn't take much detective work. They said, Steve has said, we got Cody Sun on a team. We're going to transfer him there. There's literally one team that doesn't have an AD carry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you add up the math, he's probably going there. And Hooni's a bigger question mark for me. I think there's a chance he maybe, I don't know where he would go if he didn't go to Echo Fox. I mean, but does he really want to go on that team? I don't know. Hooni and Dardoch would be very interesting. And you know, there's always this, if Dardoch gets his attitude straightened out, then he'd be great. But, I mean, he's played on 12 teams now, and the attitude hasn't really adjusted much. But that would still be probably one of the top jungler, top lane duos heading into the split. So I can't see it not being Hooni because he's pretty much the last import that Echo Fox could really bring in that's kind of been rumored to come to NA. And then you're left with two local guys, maybe bring in Seraph. Oh. Remember Seraph? He's fantastic. Or like Quas, a guy who was pretty solid on his former Liquid days, but again, he hasn't been on the LCS for a while. So, I mean, if your other options outside of Hooni are those two, or just trotting out Brandini again, I think Echo Fox is probably going all in to make sure Hooni comes over.
As they should, because Seraph should not be on a roster again. At least not after what we saw on him from him on Envy last split. That was rough. It was
he could be a sub.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. When are you going to sub him in over Hooni? What situation exists?
Well, the sub, you don't have to sub him in.
So he's on the academy team.
Yeah, Hooni could hurt his wrist. You know, doesn't do his wrist stretches or something.
Yeah, I got you.
And then you got to bring Seraph in.
Or an eye bursts.
An eye burst?
Yeah, it's a severe injury.
I don't think they just burst, man.
You haven't seen what I've seen.
You could pop a blood vessel, but your eyes don't just burst. Don't
That's
scare the children like that. If you scare the screen too long, your eye will burst. No, that's not an issue.
The Guardians.
The Guardians.
Yes. Gotta talk about the Guardians.
We gotta talk about the Guardians. Contractz heading over to the Golden Guardians. In case you missed that, which you shouldn't have. This team is the only fully NA team. Fully NA. Everyone from NA. You think, wow, that's great. That's pretty interesting. The team's going to be terrible.
Yeah, it's going to be terrible. Exactly. The problem with an all NA team is that it's bad, which is pretty interesting. I mean, Laurel and Matt from Team Liquid.
Okay.
That's fine, I guess. Contractz is obviously the star of this team after he shockingly left Cloud9. They let him walk for some reason. And then High, who's always a mid laner you can rely on to get Flame Horizon.
Yep.
Down 100 CS, no problem. And then definitely an unproven guy out of the Challenger Series with United. So, I mean, there's potential on the team. Obviously, whenever you have High on a roster, you can win games just based on shot calling alone. There's really one voice on this team, and it's High doing things. But, yeah, I don't know. This roster is kind of a mismatch of people who have been criticized in the past for not being stellar players, plus Contractz.
Yeah, you mentioned it off camera. Where does Contractz gank? Where does he go to get? Which lane does he try and get ahead on this team?
Yeah, that's exactly the thing, because High is going to be losing lane more likely than not.
Yeah. And
if you get counter ganked, then it goes terribly wrong and the game's over. You probably go to the top side of the map, because Deftly and Matt's kind of an uninspiring bot lane duo, if I had to say so myself. And Lorlo's probably the one guy on Team Liquid who's proven he can occasionally perform and take over a game. Not often, but occasionally.
So occasionally, you win a game.
It's just weird to see someone in North America settle for not using any import slots. Any.
Yeah, especially when a guy like Loco Doco is working with the team and he's a guy who is great at scouting specifically from Korea. I mean, people thought they might get two big free agent guys from Korea to head over there, but they decided to go the all NA route. And it's not even the premier NA talent, because most of that's already been locked up on teams. Golden Guardians waited till pretty much every other team had done a signing of some sort, and then they're like, oh, what's left over? Oh, these guys.
It's weird how that works.
It's weird how that works.
Yeah.
And then you end up with a roster like that, and that's probably going to be a bottom 3 team, which makes it even more perplexing as to why Contractz decided to go over there. I know money talks, but Cloud9 shouldn't have listened. They should have said, no, stay.
Yeah, they were the last table chosen to hit the buffet, and they got all the crappy leftovers.
Yeah.
Pretty unfortunate.
But it's all locally sourced.
It's all local stuff, yeah.
So, you know.
Wow.
It's kind of like getting organic food. Everyone's into organic food right now. So
They are.
this is the hipster.
This is
Yeah.
very nice.
Very
Very nice.
But I mean, we'll be doing full power rankings once, 100 Thieves decide to finally announce their bottom lane that a lot of people think it'll probably be. We'll be doing full power rankings, everything like that. For NA and EU, there's even more question marks about EU.
There's a lot of questions.
Some of these rosters are just empty.
Yeah.
They just don't have any players yet. So that's a little confusing.
They're doing the Golden Guardian strat.
Waiting for the leftovers.
There you go.
It's a very bad strategy.
It's not a good one.
Don't recommend it for any team out there.
No.
Also, make sure you're sending your questions. I'm sure people have a lot of questions about all these different rosters going on and who the favorites are heading into the splits. So we'll be answering those later.
Soon.
Very soon.
Soon TM.
Soon TM. Damn.
I beat you to the joke. Haha.
I don't like you.
That's rude.
So the Guardians, what are we talking about next?
We were gonna do the thing where
Yeah,
we
I
talked
screwed
about
up.
the.
I screwed
you
up the order.
Yeah, it's fine.
I screwed up the order. It happens.
I mean, whatever. You want to talk about it again, anyways?
Now, we were talking about the what's missing or what's left,
Right.
which we already went over.
There it is. Roster
guys.
vacancies are running low.
Roster vacancies. I just really wanted to talk about that.
You're excited.
I just
Yeah.
really want to talk about that. So we're talking LCK now, right?
Yeah, we'll go to the next one. Yeah, we'll go to LCK.
LCK. The LCK is now becoming the EU LCK.
Or two people. Anyways.
Two people. You got Ignar and you got Trick heading back to Korea, playing for the best team name of all time, of course. Barbecue Olivers.
It's fantastic.
They're going grilling in Korea. They're going back. I mean, okay, that's definitely going to be a middle tier team, especially when you see how stacked the top four are in the LCK. But I think both of these guys, Trick and Ignar to some extent, kind of wanted to head back to Korea. A little bit homesick, I'm sure. They've been hanging out west for a while, and now they're heading back home. So great for them. And, I mean, they kind of developed their talent, developed their skills in EU, and then they can go back to Korea and be a starter on a lot of these teams. So good for them. They definitely earned some of these spots. But that team, I can't imagine will be great in the LCK. But any team in the LCK is great, so I take that back.
Trick very excited, though. Tweeting out, I like chicken. So there you go. He's really in the team spirit. Barbecue Olivers, everyone knows their sweet logo. It's a chicken.
Yeah.
So Trick is
that's one way.
He's embracing it, for sure. It's interesting.
Do you think he actually likes chicken?
You think he was paid to tweet that?
So. Paid by barbecue.
Paid by barbecue. Pretty sweet tweet. But yeah, I mean, you already have these top four teams that brought back pretty much everybody. The exception is SKT, who has a top in jungle, Void, potentially depending on what they do with Untara and Blank, and then Samsung, Longzhu. KT bring back the entire team. Doesn't really matter who you get if you're Barbecue Olivers. You're going to finish 5th or lower.
Yeah, and Longzhu also getting Peanut.
Yeah.
So that's a reunition. That's not a word?
No.
Reunition?
Reunion?
Reunion, that's the one.
Yikes.
A Rocks Tigers reunion with Prey and Gorilla, Peanut coming in there, and then the two young superstars, up-and-coming talent in Con and BDD. That team is even scarier now. I think, despite having some struggles last split, I think Peanut's an upgrade over Cuz, and this team finished first in summer with Cuz, and were heavy favorites heading into the World Championship. So, I mean, yeah, that top half of the LCK is absolutely terrifying for a little chicken like Barbecue Olivers. Terrifying.
Well done.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, the weak link on Longzhu last year was definitely Cuz in that jungle. Not consistent whatsoever. You bring a guy like Peanut, who when he was with guys like Prey and Gorilla, he was at his best, being that aggressive guy who was just making the other team so uncomfortable, always on the back foot. So Peanut can get back to those ways, the way he was on Rocks, then good thing for Longzhu, because Cuz wasn't always that guy for them. So it's just going to be interesting to see if between the two pairs of guys who were not very consistent last year, if they can find someone who can just put together back-to-back decent performances for Longzhu. And if they do, they're looking like potentially the best team in Korea.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. All these roster moves, all these transfers going in between EU and NA, totally different looking rosters. Korea's like, okay, we'll just pretty much put out the same team. Oh, we'll get Peanut. Okay. SKT says, well, we don't want Peanut. We'll have Blank. There's hardly any moves in the LCK. And it's almost more terrifying that way, that they're coming back. KT's coming back with the same roster. Longju's coming back with just Peanut as a change. SKT's coming back. And what's the other team? What's the other team I'm forgetting about? Samsung, the world champions. They're coming back with the same roster. So the fact that they're only going to develop this synergy even more is goodbye West. Goodbye the entire Western League, as per usual. But EU and NA, very exciting.
Very exciting. EU upper half exciting. Lower half, not exciting.
Yeah, when we dive more into the EU LCS, we're kind of looking out the rosters today. There's basically 5 teams that they look pretty good. Yeah. I think there's 5 teams that probably have a legitimate shot at winning the spring split, which is something you definitely couldn't say in 2017 summer.
No.
So is that an improvement for EU? Maybe?
There's going to be a discrepancy between top and bottom, man. A big one.
Yeah. 5 good, 5
bad. 5 bad.
That makes for an interesting league.
At least the best of 3s are done with that, because watching a best of 3 where one team sucks is just not a good time. So.
Well, it's 2 games usually.
2
pretty
games.
Quick.
It's pretty quick.
Pretty quick 2 games.
All right. Anything else, or is it question time?
I think it's getting pretty close to question time. So close that it might be question time.
All right. Let's do some questions.
It's question time.
Obviously, we're going to start with Svenskeren, Eric.
Yeah, that's a pretty valid question, I'm sure.
Is C9 Sven confirmed? Why is C9 taking Sven? What do you think about Svenskeren pickup from Cloud9? All that kind of stuff.
A lot of questions.
Well, let's start. C9 Sven is confirmed.
It's confirmed. C9 released a YouTube video that was him sitting in a chair and flexing. I'm pretty sure he was looking at his bicep.
Yeah, he did the whole. Oh.
I would be too. He's pretty ripped. One thing TSM did is he got ripped over there.
They got the guys in shape.
Yeah. So hopefully he keeps that up on C9. But yeah, that is official. Why did they go for him? Well, we kind of talked about it. It doesn't seem like they were that prepared for Contractz leaving. And if they weren't that prepared, then I think this is a pretty good result that you end up getting Svenskeren. Flaming aside, the memeing aside on this guy, the brother Sven and everything, he's still a great jungler. And I think a whole new scene for him will definitely help him out, not having there's still a lot of pressure playing on Cloud9 because it's one of the storied franchises in NA, but not nearly the pressure that there is playing on TSM. And I don't think he's the main scapegoat that people will look to on C9. It's probably a guy like Licorice, and Jensen gets a lot of the blame for C9. So I think Sven will feel a lot less pressure, and therefore he'll perform more like his old self.
Yeah, on TSM, Bjergsen never gets accused of doing anything wrong. But on C9, Jensen takes a lot more blame for whatever reason. People are just assuming that it's his fault, and he's a KDA player, which is unfair, definitely unfair. But yeah, Svenskeren, hopefully take the heat off the guy a little bit, let him do his thing in the Cloud9 jungle, and I think he'll be okay. I think he's going to be very good for Cloud9. So that goes to the next question. Will Sven be a top jungler in North America again? Might take a little bit of time to get the chemistry going with Licorice and Jensen, but at the end of the day, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, he'll definitely be probably top 4, I'd say. There's still, it's so many question marks. It's hard to start ranking players. Like, how well will Mike Young actually do on TSM? Maybe he'll struggle a bit early on, being with all these 4 veteran guys. There's going to be tons of pressure on Mike Young. There's a lot more pressure on Mike Young than Svenskeren heading into this split, that's for sure. But I mean, I think by the middle of spring split, Svenskeren will kind of establish himself as definitely in that top 4.
I agree, Mr. Eric. Alphanex says, other than C9, who have gone after a good academy talent? C9 got a bit of a jump on that with Selfie and Wiggly. And Licorice might have been a guy, but now he's going to step into that main rotation. The only other team, really, is Echo Fox, who still have a bunch of those guys stashed from last season. The Brandini, the Grigny.
Yep.
The Monte.
Yeah, I mean... Oh boy.
Yeah.
Star-studded.
Yes.
Most of these teams haven't really announced any of their academy players yet. I'm sure after this whole scouting grounds thing gets underway, which is in like a couple days.
It's close, yeah.
I think it's in like 2 days. Gets underway, I think then you'll start seeing teams fleshing out their academy teams more. Obviously, the priority for all these new teams was getting that starting roster locked in place and then kind of looking at what other talent is around. So I think that's kind of where you'll see the focus shift for most of these teams. But yeah, kudos to not TSM, C9 for getting out ahead on that. And now they've got some of the best available guys in a couple positions, which is great for them going forward.
Yeah, definitely off to a good start, especially if some of those roster moves don't work out so well. But yeah. I don't think we'll see much Selfie playing over Jensen.
Probably not.
Probably 0.
Zero's a good guess.
Romeo Barnes says, so C9 has subs in top and jungle now. They are main roster subs, correct? I don't know if they have a top sub. I don't think Ray is sticking around, but I haven't really heard anything about Ray out of Cloud9 yet, so I'm not sure about that. But yes, they have a jungle sub and they have a mid sub, technically.
Yeah, and I mean, if Ray is sticking around, I mean, if you're subbing him in, you got to take out Svenskeren and put in Wiggly, which that's probably a little too confusing on the roster, especially when you're trying to build synergy and develop that starting rotation. So yeah, Licorice probably going to be the guy starting the majority, if not all, of the games in the top lane for them, as well as Jensen and Svenskeren. Don't think there's going to be much subs going on there. And again, these 5 players that every team is forced to have, they're not necessarily subs. They're more an academy team that you have to have as part of the franchising model. So the majority of them probably won't see any time in the LCS, at least in the spring split.
Absolutely. Time for some Aphromoo questions.
Okay.
Obviously, everyone wants to know where their favorite support Aphromoo is going. That's the first question. Where would Aphromoo go? Me and you both said 100 Thieves based on the pure fact that that's the only support position that's available, which makes it a pretty logical conclusion.
I don't know how you got there. That's crazy.
I know, it's a bit of a stretch. I watched a lot of Blue's Clues. It was a great TV.
It is good stuff. I could figure it out in like 30 seconds, man.
Don't show off to the chat. People don't care about what you accomplished in life.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people are trying to make the Team Liquid connection with the old former Rush Hour thing, and then it's just CLG 2015 again.
Yeah.
And I don't see it. I don't think they'd ever not play Olay after they went out and got him. So it doesn't make much sense to me that he would go to Team Liquid. I mean, it's always possible, but then what do you do with Aphromoo and Olay? You sell off another one? I mean, I guess Team Liquid could just keep selling off contracts.
Yeah, and I don't know why everyone thinks this Rush Hour bottom lane wants a reunion. Yeah. They had a pretty serious falling out, and even when Aphromoo tweeted, thanks to all these people, it's been the best teammates of all time, he tweeted at Xmithy, Omar God, Poe Belter, Coach Zeeks, Darshan, Huhi, no double lift. Double lift not included in that. I mean, if you're including Xmithy and Omar God in that tweet, then you don't include double if you're kind of going out of your way not to include them. I feel like, at least. So I don't think they want a reunion there. And yeah, they've already gone through this process with Olay. I know that hasn't been officially confirmed yet because he's probably at home in Korea and not in NA at the moment. So they can't make a cool little video about him. But I don't see Aphromoo going to Team Liquid.
No, I don't see it either. Again, like you said, they didn't finish on best of terms on CLG. I think they're still friends, but I don't think playing together is an option. I don't think so. Some speculation from the people.
Okay.
Afro with Cody. Forgiven Aphromoo God combo.
Oh.
I mean, Forgiven can't go to 100 Thieves if that's the case.
Where are they going?
Yeah, that's the question. If you want a Aphromoo Forgiven combo, where? Because it's just not
going
a situation.
to EU.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that just can't happen on 100 Thieves.
No. Cody's son can.
Cody's son can happen.
And that's likely what will happen.
No God-given. I mean, Aphromoo's probably either going to 100 Thieves or streaming. Sitting out a split. Which I think Froggen is doing, by the way.
Come on, there's Froggen questions later. Don't ruin it.
Sorry, spoiler.
Do you think that the C9 roster is overall an upgrade? Quick answer, no.
No.
Contractz, man, I thought he was potentially the best jungler in North America last split. And that's saying a lot since Xmithy was on the team. They had all these guys in North America that were performing pretty well, but Contractz stood out to be this aggressive guy who didn't necessarily fall to the meta, played those carry champions to take some pressure off of Jensen. And Svenskeren's going to have to do somewhat of the same thing because I don't know if playing the whole tank thing and sitting back is going to work with what Cloud9 is trying to do. They usually try to save that tank role for the top lane, which will be Licorice in this case. So I don't think it's an upgrade. Again, you lose a world champion like Impact. That's going to hurt for a bit until Licorice finds his bearings. And then Sven was just, Contractz was so comfortable with Jensen and their synergy was so on point that it's going to take a while to get that going again with Svenskeren. So I don't think it's an upgrade, no.
Yeah, I was buying into the Licorice hype, and when that was the roster with Contractz there, I did think that was probably going to be an upgrade, and yeah, we thought they were still favorites to win the spring split. But when you lose Contractz, I think any other jungler that was playing in NA is a downgrade. So I think Svenskeren's a bit of a downgrade there, but it's not as big a drop-off as a lot of people are thinking with this Cloud9 roster. But I do think it would be better with Contractz. They're still going to be a top team, and I think Svenskeren is going to show up. He's going to show up.
I do too. Carry to Victory says, what do you think of the TSM roster? It's loaded with talent.
Stacked, man.
It's pretty crazy.
I mean, TSM historically has kind of struggled initially with some of these rosters. You saw that 2016 super team when all the TSM Yellow Star, it was Haunter's first split there, Svenskeren's first split there. It was an entirely new roster. They struggled, and then they just blitzed their way through the playoffs. Didn't win that split, but they destroyed Immortals, and people were like, oh my gosh, this is what this team could do. I feel like this roster is just going to do that right away and totally annihilate the league to start the season, win a bunch of games in a row, and people are going to be like, oh my god, boo, EU, even though you're NA. I think that's the main reason people are upset, is because there's more EU players than NA players on the most storied NA franchise. But I mean, this team looks pretty good, pretty nasty.
Yeah, it's hard to not consider them the best team in North America right now. And I mean, at some point, people have to start putting this NA-EU void aside, because right now it's just the money in NA is so much greater, and you can't really blame these players for leaving their region, take this opportunity with TSM, the most storied franchise, potentially in the Western League of Legends scene. So, I mean, if you're Sven and Myth and you get this offer from TSM, how do you not accept that?
Yeah,
it's crazy. You can't blame them.
Esports careers are so short. You got to make the money while you can. Make as much money as you can very quickly. So you got to go to TSM when the offer comes a calling.
Got to take it. I got a question from my boy Taco Huang.
That is your boy.
But what about Ignar and Trick going to Barbecue Olivers? At the end of the day, they're still going to be a lower half team because the top side of the LCK is so stacked.
Yeah. How high could they go?
Fifth.
Fifth? Do you think they could go fifth? Behind all? I mean,
you asked me how high they could go. They can't go above KT Samsung, as long as you were SKT.
I don't even know if they could get fifth.
We need to see what the rest of the team looks like.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're not breaking that top four, that's for sure. That's an insane region. I mean, the fact that only 3 teams get into Worlds out of there is insane, because they probably have the top 4, maybe even 5 teams in the world coming into these big tournaments. So it's tough. But good for them for getting roster spots. They definitely earned it with their play in EU.
They definitely did. We got some Hooni questions. Will Hooni stay in Korea or go to EU, because NA has not many top lane spots left, and a bunch of people wondering where Hooni will go. Obviously, we have to start with Ego Fox, because that's the one place he's been rumored to go. Apparently, Ego Fox in talks with Hooni to bring him back to North America, where he played with Immortals before. Obviously, he was in Europe before with Fnatic as well. So right now, the connection is to Ego Fox. A lot of people were doing that whole Hooni thing because he changed his Instagram for like 5 seconds to C9 Hooni.
He's a memer.
It's just like Shifter saying, hey, I'm on the Guardians.
Oops,
oh,
leaked.
Wait, I leaked it. And now he's not on the Guardians. Funny how that works.
He lied.
What?
He lied to us all, Shifter.
That's pretty rude.
How could you do it, Danny Lee?
Yeah, use his real name. Nice.
We're pretty close, you know. Yeah, I think Hooni's going to go to Echo Fox. I can't see him going to EU, but I mean, if he doesn't get an offer for NA, will a Korean team pick him up? Will one of these middle-tier teams pick him up? They probably would. I think, listen, people kind of roasted him on SKT. He was the second best player at the World Championship. I think plenty of teams will be interested in him, and he's going to end up on a team. I think Echo Fox, because, again, he's pretty heavily linked to potentially going there, but he's going to end up on a team somewhere. Probably in it.
Yeah, I mean, EU doesn't make too much sense because there's already, all of those top teams already have their top laners. And
is he less money.
Is he going to go to Vitality? I doubt it. Doesn't seem like a good
LPL?
situation. Maybe LPL. The Chinese money's pretty good.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. The yen, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I have no idea.
Quoted.
All right. Yanko's time.
Oh.
What do you think about Yankos' new team? G2, maybe? Where do you see Yankos going? A lot of people wondering about G2 Yankos. It's a logical conclusion. Because before C9 picked up Svenskeren, there was a connection there potentially. But now it seems like the only spot left that makes sense for a guy of Yankos' caliber is G2. Because again, Splice has a jungler, Misfits has a jungler. All the top teams in Europe, except for G2, has a jungler. And this would kind of add to Perks' star-studded lineup, joining Karnan, Wadded, and Wonder. It would give them a star in their star-studded lineup, exactly. So I think it's going to happen. Because otherwise he's playing on one of these low-tier teams that doesn't really seem like it fits him.
Yeah, and if you go to the expert detective work that is on Twitter, Jankos has recently followed G2 Lothar, which is
pretty specific.
A kind of odd follow. He's involved with their Hearthstone team and a bunch of other stuff with G2. So it's not like he's following a typical G2 person. And he liked a tweet of Perks saying his favorite snack was M&Ms. I mean, that's
M&M
enough
peanuts,
proof.
bro.
My bad. That's enough proof for me that he's going to G2.
Yeah.
I'm sold on it. I mean, I can't see why he would go to any other team. Yeah, he was kind of linked to C9 after Contractz left. They're like, oh man, C9's got a big play in mind. They're going to bring Jankos over. Nope. Which means he's not going to NA because there's no jungler spots left. Unless, again, someone's kicking someone off. Don't think that's happening. So, yeah, you'd think if he's not going to G2, he's going to, like, Vitality. He's going back to H2K. They may give me a farewell video, but I'm actually coming back. So I'd be surprised if he didn't end up on G2.
Makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
It has to be G2. People wondering about Froggen, because we were wondering too. Why is this man not on an NALCS team? You think streaming?
I think he's getting into streaming. I think he seems really comfortable in NA. I don't think he wants to go back to EU at this point in his career, and it would make sense that that's why Echo Fox didn't keep him on or didn't try and get him, and they went with Phoenix. If he was like, hey, I don't want to play this split, then they're like, we should probably find someone else. That's exactly what they did. I mean, he seems to really enjoy streaming. Maybe he just wants to take a break. I mean, this guy's been playing competitive for so long. He's always playing solo queue. Maybe he's a little burned out from the game. I don't know. That's purely speculatory, but I just don't see him going back to EU because he seems like he's enjoying NA so much. And I mean, he's streaming right now. It's not like he's looking at getting to EU. You think he'd be, I don't know, invested more in trying to do that if he really wanted to, but it doesn't look like he is. So I feel like he's going to take a split off. Maybe more than a split. Who knows? I don't think we'll see him on a team.
Which is unfortunate because he was one of the most dominant mid laners, at least in the laning phase. That man can always pick up CS when it doesn't look like it's possible.
I'm still convinced he hacks the game and manually puts up his CS numbers because, yeah, it's insane. He also had insane damage output, damage percentage on a struggling Echo Fox team. So it's not like teams wouldn't want him, which is why he must have kind of made it known to a lot of teams, hey, I'm not playing. That's what I feel like. But we'll see.
Yeah, Froggen's a bit of a mystery right now because, as you said, a lot of teams already have their 2 imports. Every team already has their mid laner.
He's done it.
So unless there's some weird sub situation going on, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes because you can't just sit Froggen on an academy team and be like, have fun down there, sir. He's better than that. So it's either he goes back to a low mid-tier team in Europe or streams. That's it.
Stream sounds nice.
Stream is money.
Stream is money.
Mo wants to know what happened to Ray. Cullen's been pretty hush-hush on Ray. There was that whole thing where it sounded like he wanted to go back to Korea, but I don't know if anyone's going to give him a deal. And for Cloud9, they have Licorice now, who's probably going to be the starter. I don't know if Ray's sticking around the sub or not, but I haven't really heard any information on Ray.
Yeah, so they've had 2 major top lane updates, bringing in Licorice and moving Impact, and neither of those articles or videos really went into what was going on with Ray, if he's playing for the upcoming split. So yeah, Cloud9 hasn't really revealed much information about him at all. Maybe they just have him on their academy team, but I mean, even if you're on the academy team, there is that whole league you have to still play in. You don't just sit as 5 subs. There's an academy league that you have to play in, and I'm not sure if he is looking to be playing professionally. I don't know what his personal situation is right now. I'm sure Cloud9 will update us eventually.
I would imagine.
But they haven't yet, so I don't really know.
Not yet. And they've been pretty good, though, on getting their information up pretty quick. Because Contractz left on Friday. Svenskeren signed today. Who knows how long that was in talks for, though, because TSM had said they had a team in place a while back for Svenskeren. So
maybe they mailed him a jersey. Some poaching was going on.
And told him to just look at his arms.
Yeah, he said, you don't have to tell me.
He had that video already made.
Yeah.
Carry to Victory wants to know, based on the rosters so far, which teams do you think will make top 4? TSM?
Yep.
CLG?
Yep.
Cloud9?
And
Team Liquid?
Optic. Oh.
Optic. Optic is...
Bonus, here's your bottom 3. It's pick your order, Optic, FlyQuest, and the Guardians.
Can I talk about FlyQuest real quick?
Fly?
Fly. They signed a man named Fly to go along their team FlyQuest so that every time we have to say his name.
Fly?
It's Fly. Fly with a great play mid. My
can't-
God, man. Why?
Can't wait till Freak calls some games and he plays a champion that has wings of any kind where he fly. He's just going to say flies in for a play. Yeah, I mean, maybe for these up-and-coming challenger guys, you should consider changing your name to have some iteration of whatever team you're looking for. Maybe Optics. That's a pretty good one you could go for.
Yeah, it's great.
I was kind of hoping that the Golden Guardians would sign Golden Glue. Golden Guardians, Golden Glue. That just rolls off the tongue. That's a lot of G's.
It's a lot
in
of
the
gold,
name.
man. Yeah.
That's a lot of gold. So, just consider changing your name to some of these team names, and maybe they'll pick you up. But Fly is hilarious. So they went from Fly High to Fly.
Yeah, you can only use things that rhyme with fly or are exactly fly.
Yeah.
They're running out of mid laners.
Hopefully, I feel like they're going to go with FQ in game.
Yeah,
So it's
I
gonna
would
be
hope so.
FQ Fly. Golden opportunity missed. Fly would look great.
Yeah, it'd be something, Eric.
Maybe something.
What's with Andy? Just asked, how's the FlyQuest roster look? Terrible.
Bad.
Pretty bad. If you want me to be frank with you.
It looks bottom 3.
Yeah, it
Bottom
does.
3. It might be 8th.
The question is, how well will Anda perform in his rookie split?
Yeah.
Because the rest is just...
It's basically the Immortals B team.
Yeah.
Couple Immortals subs. Wild Turtle had a pretty decent split last year, actually. Fly, I can't imagine him bursting through the LCS and showcasing and being one of the top mids in the NALCS. I mean, I think Flame was probably the weakest part of Immortals last split. Not that he was bad by any means. He was probably one of the best top laners in the NALCS, but I think the other 4 Immortals members were more important. So yeah, that FlyQuest roster, it's better. I think it's better than last year's FlyQuest, but not a whole lot. And basically every other team has gotten better, so they might be in some trouble.
They're definitely in trouble. That team is not good. Osvaldo wants to know, what will the 100 Thieves bot lane be? Likely. And when I say likely, I mean...
Confirmed 100%. Right? Guaranteed.
Cody's son and Aphromoo would be my guess.
It'd be a pretty solid guess.
It has to be Cody's son. It almost has to be Cody's son.
It pretty much has to be Cody's son because, again, Liquid said, we've already transferred him to a team, and unless Cody's son's going over to EU...
maybe he's going to join GBM on Turkish team Supermassive.
Supermassive, maybe. That'd be pretty funny. Yeah. Cody's son, we found you a team. Oh, great. It's,
You're going to
Supermassive in Turkey.
Oh, God.
I don't want to do that. Oh, sorry, we sold you.
You've been
contract.
traded. See you later.
That'd be rough. So he's probably going to 100 Thieves, and I think it'll either be Aphromoo, or if he maybe wants to take a split off, you throw in Xpecial. Xpecial's a guy who should be on an LCS roster. There's a couple supports currently on a team that I'm thinking I'd probably rather have Xpecial.
You're referring to Elimination?
I'm referring to Elimination. I think you'd rather have Xpecial on that team. And look at that. He's played with Arrow before. Wow. That would have made sense.
Too bad you're not in charge of some of this stuff.
Yeah. Hire me Optic.
They should.
Yeah.
What's with Andy asked, will Sven and Mithy dominate North America?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so.
Good analysis
I think
right there.
they'll probably be the best bot lane. I mean, what bot lane played together last year that's going to be in the NALCS here? C9s and Clutch Gaming. I think that's, I guess, Altec and Adrian. So there are a few.
There's a few.
There are a few teams that have some synergy. But I mean...
That's crazy, actually.
Yeah. That many are coming back.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. But I think Sven and Mithy will pretty quickly showcase that they're the best team, or the best bot lane in NA.
Not necessarily in lane.
No.
But across the map as well.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're going to dumpster 2v2 everyone and be like 4-0 at 10 minutes every game.
That's not the case.
I think you'll see in most of TSM's games, by the end of the game, you'll be like, TSM's bottom lane outperformed the other one.
100%.
That'll be a consistent theme.
A lot of liquid questions. Specifically, people who hate you and me for saying that Aphromoo not going to Team Liquid.
Okay, that's fair.
First of all, why can't Aphro join Team Liquid as well? Technically, he can't. But recall, 2 years ago, Doublift and Aphromoo had a terrible breakup. They both cried for months after it was over because of, scars, emotional scars of the way it ended. Let me put emotional out there again.
Make sure,
Tears.
emotional scar.
I just wasn't... Aphro was like, it's him or me. and then Doublelift was the one who was gone from CLG. So why would they reunite after all this? Why would Aphromoo just be like, you know what, I'll go with Doublelift again? Doesn't make sense.
Do you really want Aphromoo over Olay?
I wouldn't.
I feel like you'd rather have Olay, so I don't know why Team Liquid would do that. And Olay's been tweeting out he's excited, can't wait to play in the LCS, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty heavily rumored, heavily linked. Again, hasn't been officially announced.
Right, but all the rumors that had Olay going to Team Liquid also had Doublelift going to Team Liquid.
Yes.
And all this kind of
same
stuff.
Sources
and Xmithy and Pobelt are going to Team Liquid.
They're all there. Impact is signed. Pretty sure Olay's going to be on Team Liquid, and I think you'd rather have him on that roster than Aphromoo. So I don't see it happening. Yeah, I know Team Liquid's got a lot of money. But
they do. Some more Liquid questions. Do you think Liquid may fail with so many stars? May not meld together well? I mean, at one point...
some of them aren't even stars, really.
Yeah, they're solid players. Like Xmithy and Pobelt I wouldn't call stars. But they're the best domestic players available in their positions. And they're solid. Like, they're not going to lose you many games.
Yeah, and Impact is another guy who, aside from the top die stuff a couple of years ago, I mean, he's not dominating in the top lane. He's playing tanks really well. He's frontlining really well and engaging super well. But he's not, I wouldn't call him like a star player on some of these teams. Like, and a lot of these guys have all played together. Impact's the only guy who hasn't played with anyone else on the roster there. Otherwise, you got combinations of old CLG and old Immortals that have all played together. So I don't know how huge an issue synergy will be. Obviously, it will be something with especially an entirely new bottom lane. But I mean, Biofrost and Doublelift work together pretty well, pretty quickly. So I don't think that'll be a huge issue for them. I don't know if this team, when it is playing well, will be as good as people are initially thinking.
That's fair. Again, there's a lot going on, and you never know how a team's going to come together in terms of chemistry and communication. So it's a lot to think about. And Herbert asked, if your theory of Liquid with a slow start is true, where is their ceiling when they really start to put it on? Can they win finals? I mean, sure, it's always there. Again, the Pobelter, Xmithy, Doublelift core already won a split. And then you add an Impact, and you add an Olay. Talent-wise, it's there. The question is just, can they mesh?
Yeah, I would, again, initially based solely on the paper rosters before seeing anything. I would almost put TSM and maybe CLG in a top two, kind of a tier on their own, and then Liquid and Cloud9 below them. But, I mean, yeah, I think at their ceiling they could get to the finals. I don't know if they could win. Again, it depends who they'd be playing, but I think they have a shot at winning, an outside shot, but they could definitely get to the finals, I think.
I think so too. Alpha Nexus, who's Liquid's coach? I don't think it's been announced yet. It's one thing that I haven't heard anything about from Team Liquid is their coach.
Yeah, they had Kane was one of their coaches. I don't know if he's staying on being their coach, but when they did that initial roster announcement, they had 6 bubbles. 6 bubbles where they were going to announce each player, and I assume that 6th one is going to be a coach. So they'll announce it eventually. I don't know, maybe he's also coming from outside of NA, so they got to wait to make this video. That's why the Pobelter, Xmithy, and Doublelift ones came out pretty quickly, because they said, hey, drive over and we'll film a video. Okay. Not so easy for guys coming over from Korea or elsewhere overseas to kind of just put together a video. So they're just waiting on that.
Yeah, you can't do those dramatic spins on the roof of a building just anywhere, man.
All you get is a lame Skype interview.
Not good enough.
That does not suit the Liquid brand anymore.
It does not. A couple of Aphromoo theories. Ryan Russell says, I really think Afro's going into coaching. And the man says, I think Afro can make bank off of streaming. He can definitely do that. He can definitely make bank off of streaming. And coaching, who knows? Afro's usually a pretty quiet guy when it comes to what he's going to do with his career, but I still think he's got the drive to play.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, he's kind of a guy who can deal with personalities well. If you've seen a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff with CLG, he's kind of, ever since he kind of stepped up in that role, he's kind of, I think he's the main reason CLG is this whole friendship thing. Yeah, team full of friends, we all love each other. But I don't know if he'd be a fantastic coach. It's hard to say. I haven't seen enough of that behind-the-scenes stuff to know if he'd be good at that, or even if he wants to do that. But there's no doubt he'd make bank streaming, because he used to make bank doing streaming before he was on CLG even. So that's always an option for him. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Funny guy.
And the people love Aphromoo. Questions keep pouring in. Where's Aphro going to go? Let him have it.
Pretty sure, if he's playing this split, he'll be going to 100 Thieves, playing with our boy Cody's son in that bottom lane. That's a pretty solid bottom lane.
That team's pretty solid.
That team's not
if that's
so
the
bad.
case.
I mean, again, that's the only available support position. The only other thing I could see happening in NA is they're like, hey, Lemon, see ya, which is just ruthless and not the precedent you want to set as a new team coming into NALCS, that you just slice players off your roster a couple days after signing them. So it's probably 100 Thieves or streaming.
I agree.
That'd be my best guess.
All right, there's still a million questions, so let's start.
A million? Oh,
let's,
man.
Let's crank through them. What's with Andy? Says, what will happen to Unicorns of Love? There is no news on them. The only news we have is that Exile and Samix are coming back. And if you're, if you're a UL fan, you're like, Samix, excellent. Exile, oh, not again. He was god-awful last year. And they lost a lot of their star players. Chachi gone, Zergzy gone, Hillisang gone. So they got a lot to do, and I haven't heard anything.
If you're a UL fan, you might want to go into Exile. Because, yeah, having him back is probably not great. He struggled, not just last split, really the whole year, which is too bad because he had a lot of hype coming into 2017. They're like, oh, man, this guy's going to be one of the top mid laners. Wasn't necessarily the case, and I really have no idea what's going on with UL. We'll see. I mean, Sheepy, their head coach, is basically the last standing survivor, now that Chachi and Hillisang are gone, of that original lineup of UOL. And I mean, he's put together some misfit teams that have made some deep playoff runs, so maybe he can do it again, but I'm not sure I believe.
I don't believe. I mean, there's already a lot of talent from EU's gone to some of the best teams, so we'll have to see what they can do over there. Me Too asks, will Rush make a comeback to NA or EU? Seems to be on fire in Korea with a 78% win percentage in Challenger. I mean, people were already baited by that C9 thing.
Oh, that happened so quickly. As soon as Contractz was gone. That was funny.
Yeah.
That was funny.
It's like, oh.
Don't rush to anything. And then they even put Rush, I forget, what game does he play?
CSGO.
CSGO.
Yeah, the CSGO player.
They put him in the league starting lineup. That was very funny.
And his position was still like gunner or something. It's like, that was well done.
That was well played, but I don't see him coming back to play professionally. I mean, he seems kind of comfortable with what he's doing right now. Sure, he's dominating in solo queue, but I mean, I don't even know if teams would necessarily want to take a risk on him. We're well past that era of Rush dominating on impulse, and even his original stint on Cloud9 wasn't quite as good as people were expecting. So I think that might be it for seeing Rush play professionally, which is too bad. That
is definitely too bad because he's obviously a talented guy. How will Impact do? He can speak a little bit of English, but not really good. At C9, he had Reaper to help him, but thinks it will be hard for him on Team Liquid. He'll have Ole, hopefully, to help with the translations a little bit.
Aphromoo doesn't speak Korean.
No, he does not. But Impact usually speaks in memes.
Yeah, that's the problem. A lot of the English that he has developed isn't really English. So we'll see how well that's communicated. He's just going to be saying same all the time, and people are going to be like, no. Yeah. But there will be guys there on Liquid that will help. I'm sure Steve will hire whichever translator or anything that Impact needs, he will hire the support staff for him. There's no doubt about that. And it will help that he'll have another Korean-speaking teammate, assuming Ole's there.
Right. Yeah, he's going to miss Sneaky, the only guy who could translate meme to meme. It was an interesting situation. Always fun to watch those conversations go down. Brian wants to know, where's Cody's son going? Our money is on 100 Thieves, sir.
All the money's on.
All of it. All the money you have, Eric. Joshua Epstein, what do you think about the fact that TSM will practice 3/5 of their team and coach at All-Stars? Man, they've got so many guys at All-Stars. Sven and Mithy, TSM. Oh, they're not going. Sorry, they got snubbed by Europe.
That's right.
Instead, they voted in guys like Ignar, who's going to Korea. Good work.
Yeah, so let's go through this EU roster here. And how many of them are playing in EU? Soaz? Was Soaz who got in top?
Yeah.
Soaz is EU.
Nice.
Great.
Jankos.
Maybe. Probably going to be EU.
Power Vivo.
NA. Gone. NA.
Reckless.
EU. Oh, that's actually better than I thought. I thought it was only 2 out of 5.
It's 3.
3's not
for
bad.
now.
But yeah, so TSM's going to send out Hanser, Mike Young, Bjergsen, and Coach Song. I thought there were rules against that. But
yeah, weird.
TSM, Abuse the system. That was the whole point of this all along, is to just amass as many all-stars as they could. Maybe that's how they do the offseason searches. They just look at the top all-star vote getters, and they're like, him.
Yeah.
Him.
The fans decide the next TSM roster.
Wow, don't say that. They'll be all on board.
I know. James 1 wants to know, where is Lod? He is on the island of misfit toys with the rest of them. The rest of Dignitas. Keen, see ya.
Later. They don't even have
Chaser,
computers.
what happened to him?
Shrimp?
Man, it's almost
Where'd
like that
they
team
go?
dissolved or something.
Big?
Big.
Big.
You'll be missed, sir.
I don't think... Maybe Lod gets on an academy team?
Maybe.
That's not exactly grooming new talent. That's kind of old talent. Not really... I don't see him getting on any of these rosters.
All right, it's time for speed round. You ready?
Speed round. I love speed round.
Fnatic, same roster. Do you think that Fnatic will do any roster changes? So far, only change is Hylissang at support. The rest looks like it's going to stay the same.
Can't see them changing any of that. There was some stuff rumored around Caps, but pretty sure he's staying.
It'd be hard to find anyone better than that. Thoughts about Longzhu Peanut along with Prey and Gorilla? Old Rocks Tiger team back together.
That's a scary team and probably going to be the best team, I think, in the LCK. Maybe KT.
Maybe KT. Ooh. Any SKT new top laner news? Who will end up as SKT's top laner now? Marin or possibly someone from China or somewhere else?
I think I read somewhere that some fan tweeted or something that Marin was at the SKT house. So that's the most heavily rumored top laner coming in right now is Marin coming back.
How does
to
a
his
fan
old
know
team.
that? They just sitting outside SKT's house waiting?
I'm going to be honest with you. This is a very not legitimate source, so don't take this seriously. But there have been other rumors that are linking Marin to SKT. So
Sure.
Outside of that, I don't know. It seems like I don't even know if they're going to get another sub jungler or just go with blank with Bengi coaching him and telling him exactly what to do at exactly the right time.
For sure. Ivar wants to know who are the top 3 EU teams. That's interesting.
Fnatic, probably. That's a safe bet. I like Schalke.
I like Splice.
There you go. That's 3.
Didn't think you'd be hearing that.
No.
Fnatic,
Schalke.
Schalke, and Splice.
Shoutouts to Misfits. They're pretty solid as well.
And who knows what G2 can do.
I got to hear the rest of that roster first.
100%. Tiago asks, who's the lineup for Echo Fox? Top laner? Don't know.
Brandini. As of right now, Brandini.
Yeah, okay. And then it goes Dardoch, Phoenix. What's he doing there? Don't ask me. Altec and Adrian. There it is.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Ask and you
That's
shall
Echo
receive.
Fox. Hooni question mark?
Yeah.
Question mark.
Hooni has actually changed his name to Hooni with a question mark.
Yes.
Another name change in the offseason. But no, Hooni's been pretty heavily linked. They were apparently in negotiation talks with him to come over to Echo Fox, but nothing finalized yet.
Nothing finalized yet, but that's what we got so far. Arcos asks, what do you think of the Arrow, Meteos, and Someday combo? I think it has potential to be pretty decent. And then you add in a potential Cody Sun Afro bot lane. They could be
That's a playoff team,
potential
I'd say.
5th, 6th team. Yeah.
That's a playoff team for sure. Outside, looking in at those top 4 Titans, but I think that could be a playoff team, depending on how well Meteos does in there.
It'd be fun to watch, no doubt.
Yep.
Legacy Flame asks, could CLG's new roster compete with TSM for first? Also, out of the NBA teams and Optic, which one will have the best chance of being a serious competitor? As for your NBA teams and Optic will not be a serious competitor.
No.
I don't think. Eric and I both think they're a pretty terrible team.
Golden Guardians will not be competitive.
I think Clutch is pretty decent, and I think 100 Thieves is pretty decent.
Yeah, I think those are the other 2 playoff teams outside of the top 4. It's going to be Clutch in them, and yeah, the other 2 are no good. And CLG against TSM, I think they could. I think they're going to be TSM's main threat for that top spot. I think TSM will probably get it, but I think CLG will give them a run for the money.
Yeah, TSM maybe a slow start, and CLG dominates, and then CLG
maybe
does their usual thing where they fall apart. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pedro, do you know anything about H2K? I'm hopeful they'll play, but I do not have that much time to research. All that I've heard is Sheriff and Cadril are going to H2K.
Whew.
Not inspirational signings.
Powerhouse.
It's not the news you want to hear, but that's all we got.
I think H2K is going to lose a lot of fans with basically the entire roster. I mean, you lose Yankos, Odawamne, Febevin, and Prawley Those are probably the main 4 reasons anyone was a fan of H2K. So with losing all of them, I don't know what they're going to do.
I do not know.
They're looking like they might be near the bottom this split.
100%. Sander G10, if there is any player in NA who could go to EU, who would it be? Does Niski count because he's already gone back?
That's right. EU, NA, EU.
That's right.
Back and forth and back and forth.
Santorin potentially could go back.
As an import?
As an import because he was European, but he spends enough time in North America that he's now North American. So if he goes back to Europe, he'd be a North American import.
Which is
ridiculous.
Absurd. You should be able to not be an import in 2 regions.
Yeah.
That would kind of make sense, right?
I don't know. How absurd is that?
It's completely ridiculous. Very weird system Riot's put in there.
But yeah, he deserves a spot jungling somewhere.
I think so.
Mr. Santorin.
Mr. Very formal of you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Do you have any information about Piglet? Last we heard, he was looking to go back to Korea. Other than that, got nothing. He's been pretty quiet.
I don't know if he can crack a roster in the LCK.
I don't know.
Even some of these lower tier teams have pretty solid 80 carries like Teddy, Kramer. Pretty solid guys. I don't know. I don't think Piglet's beaten out some of these guys in there. So we'll see what's up with Piglet. He's not playing in NA.
No, he's not.
Maybe you go to EU.
They've got a lot of spots available for imports. Man. Miguel Sanchez, who will be the best mid laner by the end of spring?
In the world?
I mean, there's a lot of good mid laners over in North America now.
There's a lot of good EU mid laners over in North America.
You got Bjergsen, you got Jensen, you got Favin, you got Harvival.
Probably one of those 4.
Yeah. That would be it, but
I think it might be Favin.
It could very well be.
I mean, he had a great split on H2K. A lot of these other teams are dealing with new rosters. I realize Favin is dealing with an entirely new roster, but I think he might just kind of play his style and showcase why EU's better than NA in terms of mid laners, which is pretty true.
Yes, sir. Casper says, who's going to win Summer?
Summer,
we're going way ahead.
Well, Summer's a little too hard to predict. You could have totally different rosters from now. I think, I mean, probably TSM.
TSM is an
That's
easy
a safe
pick. Safe bit, yeah.
TSM's easy.
It is easy. Torben, what do you think about Power Evil rating against the other mid laners? Pee-wee's a very talented guy. Obviously, he performed very well at Worlds with Misfits, but...
He's playing with ankle weights this split with that team.
You mean wrist weights?
Wrist weights. Both.
Yeah. Both. Yeah, he's got a not great team going on, which is going to hurt him a little bit.
Yeah, I think that team's going to struggle, and I think with that Power Evil might struggle a bit.
Yeah. Philip, thoughts on G2 Wonder, Eric?
I think Wonder, he's been pretty good on Splice the whole time he's been there. I think he's actually probably been near the top. He's probably been a top 4 top laner the majority of the time that he's been on Splice. So initially I was kind of like, oh, God, G2, what is this roster? But, you know, Wonder is actually, I'm okay with that signing. It's not awful. He's been consistent. He's not gonna feed, which is a pretty good standard to at least start with. So that's good.
For sure. Still taking questions, but hit subscribe on YouTube.
That's true.
For all the roster news. That Twitter thing at the bottom, that says @_SC Esports. That's us. You can follow that for stuff as well.
It does say that. Wow.
When roster stuff gets announced, we say things about it. If that's not a
what a sell! Holy smokes!
I know, right?
I gotta check this out.
Brace
later.
yourselves.
I gotta check
yeah,
this
wow,
out.
holy.
Wow.
Pretty crazy. And we used the Blue's Clues GIF once, and Spy Kids too. So
was it Spy Kids 2 or Spy Kids?
I'm hoping one because man, Spy Kids took a tumble after the first one. We all know that.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah. Anyways,
we'd still have more questions.
Yeah, and if you want to talk Spy Kids, you let us know.
Yeah.
Joshua Epstein.
Spy Kids question.
Yeah, of course. Why do you think Guardians is 0 imports? That's a question.
Because they done messed up.
That's one answer.
They should have used imports. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to brand it. They're like, we'll get more fans. Someone probably told them on their marketing team or something. You'll get more fans if you have an all NA team, and that might be true. People might be like, yeah, NA, but
you know what gets fans?
Winning.
Winning. That's a good way. TSM has a lot of fans. You know why? They win.
They win a lot.
Yeah.
And you know what? They have 3 non-NA guys.
That's right.
And they still have a lot of fans. So, I mean, we'll see how this experiment works. probably won't work very well. And I think come summer, they will have 2 imports.
I would
Maybe even mid-spring.
just change it up.
They might.
It's an interesting, it's a bold move. Cotton. Dodgeball reference, crushed it.
Nice.
Clancy says, is Song going to replace Parth as TSM's head coach? Looks like it, yes.
Yeah, and Parth is staying on the team. Not entirely sure what his official role will be, but I mean, he's always kind of been more of the analytical, kind of strategic coach as opposed to being the official head coach. So he's still on the team.
Yes, he is. Good for Parth.
Good for Parth.
Sticking
He
there.
got flamed a lot.
Yeah, he
after
did.
Worlds.
Danny asked, couldn't Rush potentially get picked up and make a splash if a team wanted to give him a chance, that is? Sure, but it's also, does he want to come back? I know he was kind of burned out from the scene, especially with Cloud9 there. So it's kind of up to him and if a team's willing to take a chance on him. But, I mean, talent-wise, sure. It's just, there's a lot of question marks surrounding him. Does he want to come back? Does he want to take a chance? All that kind of stuff.
That's a big move for him to have to come all the way over to NA
Yeah.
or wherever he's hanging out to maybe not even crack a roster. So unless he's guaranteed something, I don't see why he would do that.
Miguel, best mid after spring split now that PoE and Fevin are in NA. I think we touched on this earlier.
I like Febby.
You like Fevin, and it's obviously Bjergsen and Jensen in the running as well.
Yeah.
Surprise,
and our boy
surprise.
Hooni. Give a shout out
Yeah,
to Hooni.
good point. Huhi is one of my favorite players to watch. Sounds weird, but it's true.
Does sound weird.
Squicky CSGO says, is Fnatic Hooni an option? I mean, they seem pretty set on Soaz sticking around.
I don't think. I mean, Soaz was awful the first week of Worlds.
And
Maybe
then,
the worst player in the tournament the first week of Worlds.
Archie. It was close.
It was close, but I mean, you saw him completely turn it around. This guy, the fact that he's coming back, I don't know how he doesn't get burned out from the game. Been playing since season 1.
Yeah.
Season 1. Not many people around from season 1 still. I mean, he was great during the regular season. He started to fall off a bit in the playoffs and then the starter Worlds, but then he got it back around. I think this is a guy you want on your roster, and it's not an issue. That's not a spot of contention or an issue for Fnatic in that top lane. So I don't think that's happening.
I don't think so either. Alex says, what's up with Reckless? Staying or leaving Fnatic? Looks like he's staying. Looks like he's kind of the guy that...
Officially announced.
No, but... I mean, look, there's
It
a lot of
looks like
roster
he's
moves where things are not confirmed. But looks like Reckless will be back.
He is a little bit of a special case. I get worried sometimes that he's just going to randomly retire because he seems to get...
Yeah.
He's so invested in the game that he can kind of... He's very emotional and he can get burnt out. So I feel like he's going to retire randomly at some point. But not right now. Not right now.
No, give it time. Thoughts on Licorice? I think he's going to do pretty well. Might struggle at first, but obviously he's in the contention for Rookie of the Split. And there's more rookies than you would think, actually, playing in the split. But
You got Licorice.
Honda.
Deftly.
Definitely.
Well, that's 3.
That's 3. Wow, you got a first, second, and third place
That's
vote.
more than I thought.
Yeah, that's, I mean, considering there's all these import slots available, it's not bad. I think he'll be all right.
I'm buying into the hype. I think he'll be a pretty solid top laner.
I agree with you, Eric. Ferronson asks, what about SKT Maxlore? He's on Misfits. So he will not be going to SKT. And SKT will not be taking on any European or North American talent anytime soon, I don't think.
Probably ever.
Probably ever.
But Maxlore's great.
Yeah, he is. And he says, came late, where are Trig and Ignar heading to? None other than the barbecue Olivers.
BBQ!
Nothing like some Korean barbecue. I'm hungry, Eric. What are you doing for dinner, buddy?
I'm getting some BBQ Olivers.
Delicious. Nothing like chicken.
What's the Olivers part of that?
I looked this up earlier. Not today, but like way in the back. Way in the past.
Way in the back.
Way in
the
the
back room. That's where our computers are.
You don't want to go back there, man.
Very old.
It's pretty creepy, but I think it is some sort of chicken thing. I think, Alex, are you looking it up for us?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We're
Oliver.
going to get the information, so
Yeah,
stall. Just stall, Eric.
Barbecue sounds like Oliver.
It's a fried chicken franchise, right.
Oh.
And I think there was something about they only use some sort of oil or something, so...
Barbecue oil.
Barbecue oil.
Propane.
They douse their chicken in propane
Yeah.
before they put it on the grill.
That's what gives
really
it that
adds a nice char
smoky
on the
taste.
outside.
Yeah.
And they use 100% extra virgin olive oil.
100% extra virgin olive oil. Look at that.
Wow. Barbecue Olivers. So it's kind of like Los Pollos Hermanos, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Barbecue
It's
Olivers.
identical to that for sure.
Great logo.
I don't know why that's a team. Why would you name yourself after a food
Because
franchise?
it's amazing.
I
And
guess
we've
so.
seen that when you have a cool logo and a ridiculous name, you do well. Hong Kong attitude, that dragon had attitude.
They didn't do very well, though.
Yeah, but that logo was sweet. And we're talking about that team. We remember them.
We do remember them. We do. Anthony Messina, you know that guy?
I've heard of him before.
Wow. Do you guys like the double lift move?
I mean, he didn't have much of a choice, it sounds like. He's already got his vengeance speech written
Yeah, he's
for
he's
TSM.
pissed.
He's angry. For Team Liquid, love that move. They get a huge name, probably the biggest name in the NALCS, and you get him angry, and he's still one of the top performing guys. So, I mean, the rebuild for Liquid has been pretty fantastic by Steve.
The question is, do Xmithy and Pobelter hate his guts?
The answer is probably yes.
Should be a great time.
On a scale of like hating his guts and like just not wanting to be around him. They're somewhere in the middle,
Nice.
which probably isn't great for team atmosphere. And that might be an
We'll
issue to look at going forward with Liquid.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they can stand each other. But I guess I'm sure Steve asked, "Hey, are you guys cool with double lift?" And they were like,
no.
"No." Well, we already
hope you
have
get
him,
cool
so,
with him.
yeah, you might as well fix that.
I'm looking forward to another Dunzo manifesto.
That would be. Where's Link?
Where's
Team
Link?
Liquid Link is next.
Yeah, he's going to be their in-house video editor.
That'd be fantastic. Elijah says, "Love the show, my dudes." That's us, Eric. Do you think Cloud9 will be better this split because of Svenskeren? I think they'll take a step back. Eric and I, before this news, both thought they'd be winning spring,
Yeah.
and now we don't.
No, but I think it's a small step back. It's not like a full man-sized step backwards. It's like a small half step. I think
A small half step.
a small half step.
Isn't the half step just a small step?
Yeah, small half step.
Okay.
Exactly. I think Licorice will be pretty comparable to Impact, and Svenskeren I think is still going to be pretty solid, like above what people are expecting out of him, but not as good as Contractz because he could have been the best jungler in NA. I don't think he will be on Golden Guardians.
Yeah, it'll be tough for him to get going on that team. Meteor Snipers B, not A, B. Any information on 100 Thieves or Yankos? 100 Thieves looks like Cody's son Aphromoo, but that's not even like a report. It's just us speculating. And Yankos, hopefully G2.
Hopefully, and there's not many options left for him. If he wants to compete, he's got to go to G2.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much hate will TSM get for being an actual EU team? 3 EU, 2 NA. For 10?
Well, I
I would say
mean,
10. They're already getting a ton.
yeah, what is TSM's hate level usually? A 9? Just on any given time?
Yeah,
This probably
probably.
ups it to 10 because they replaced Double Lift and Bio and people like them. And by the way, all these people upset about they're like, oh, Svenskeren, that's too bad. This guy got flamed so hard,
know,
man.
yeah.
No one feels bad about him moving. Everyone was so mean to him. And he's a nice young man.
I know.
Never met him, but he looks nice.
It's crazy. The short-term memory really clicks in quickly.
But they're going to get a lot of hate. They always get a lot of hate. Probably get a bit more than they usually do.
What else is new? I don't think Reginald cares too much.
Nope.
Yuki, any confirmation on Dardock? I don't believe the roster has been officially announced, but it's pretty much confirmed.
Yeah. On Echo Fox. EF Dardock.
Yes. Yellow, there's a space. Gotta emphasize that. Well, Reynolds
Thought
will
you
be a
just-
top 3 jungler.
Will who be one?
Rainover.
Ooh, that's interesting. He's got a chance. I mean, this is a guy who was a year removed from being 2-time All-Pro jungler, MVP of the split, and then on Liquid, his dreams were killed, dashed, destroyed. I think he'll get into that conversation. I think he might just be outside of that top 3. There's quite a few good junglers. Who knows how Lyra's going to do?
Yeah.
Is he going to stay near that top there? Svenskeren on Cloud9. Will Mike Young underperform? Will he crack under the pressure? There's a lot of question marks in that jungle position heading into the LCS. But I think Rainover will throw his name in there.
Will Meteos find his 2013 summer for him?
No, he
No,
won't.
he won't. Okay, we're on the same page. Good.
Unless Nasus gets pretty meta.
Who knows?
He's coming in.
The Zack Attack, any thoughts on Gam's roster? I don't even know what it is, I'll be honest with you. You know about
Well,
Gam?
I haven't heard about Levi leaving,
Levi leaving.
so I assume he's there.
That's good.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he's.
Outside of that,
We've been glued to NAEU.
I hope
LCK.
Archie's not playing again. He should become a coach.
Yeah, if that.
Come on, man.
Blue, who replaces Heaven on H2K? I don't think it's been announced. H2K's got a lot of voids.
I believe it's Cadril.
Oh, right, okay. I got you.
It's a pretty... I can't remember if he's actually mid or AD. That's pretty bad. But it's a downgrade.
That team is a downgrade. That team could be downgraded to the Challenger Series.
Yeah, I guess they still do that out in the EU. Well,
yeah. What team could pick up Mad Life? In North America?
no one.
Nobody.
It's pretty insane that Mad Life and Dandy were just chilling in the NA Challenger
It's
scene.
ridiculous.
No team picked them up. There wasn't even an inkling of a rumor of them going anywhere, and there still isn't. The mighty have fallen.
Indeed. Squicky asks, what's your thoughts about Rift Rivals 2018 EU versus NA? What's the point?
Are they doing it again?
I
Is this
so.
a yearly thing?
Man, I mean, it's just...
Just play an extra week of the NALCS.
If you're going to do that, come up with some other tournament that's like regional pride. Canada, US, Denmark, Germany, England or something. Because at this point, it's not NA.
Canada, US would be rough.
Yeah.
Wouldn't do so hot.
Canada's not so bad. Come on.
Turtle.
Sick.
Shifter.
Smoothie or Biofrost. Sick. Shifter. Get in there. Licorice.
Licorice. We just don't have a jungler. Bio,
needs-
you're playing jungle.
Get in there. If the Stream Dream team can do it.
That's true.
Okay, a couple questions left, Eric.
There we go.
Do you think NA will expand and add more teams next year? Possibly.
I could see him going to 12.
Yeah.
Then you can have 4 teams that are as bad as Golden Guardians. Maybe they change the import rule. Give you 3 guys, 3 import slots.
Man, that would be something.
Or just 5. Unleash the chains. Break the chains.
Break 'em.
Break 'em.
What do you think about Mike Young?
Handsome. Good with a fidget spinner.
Polite.
Polite.
Adorable.
Adorable. And a really good jungler. Aggressive.
The last one's the least important.
Yeah, that's true. I think he'll thrive in that TSM lineup because it is insanely stacked.
I agree. I think he's going to have a great split. Great. Final question.
Here it is.
Best
Better be good.
and worst move. Worst move. Signing Lemonation.
I think the worst move might be Golden Guardians going all NA.
That's a very large move. Yeah, I guess
Or
that's
is
fair.
it, if it's one individual move, then okay. Best move might be Sven and Mithy.
It's an impressive move.
It's a pretty good move. I also really like Reignover.
I was
to
going to say that
CLG.
too, yeah.
That's a really good one. I mean,
What about some of these NBA teams? I think signing the Envy core is pretty big too.
Febiven's good.
Yeah,
But-
7. There you go.
Clutch Gaming did a pretty solid job over there.
I agree. All right. That's all the questions. If we didn't get to them, we apologize because that was crazy. A lot of questions going on.
I have a lot of questions.
Obviously, a lot of people have questions. We have questions.
I got
that we can't
questions
answer
about
all.
questions.
Yeah, exactly. So
What quantifies a question?
if we didn't get them, you can tweet those questions at us, @_SC Esports. Eric's got nothing else to do today, so he's just going to
I'm
be
just gonna be sitting there perusing.
sitting on the feed, perusing it, waiting for questions.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to keep bringing you news on YouTube as it comes in. So hit that subscribe button, and you'll get all the latest. We hit Svenskeren, well, obviously on the show now, but we also been keeping up with all the Golden Guardian stuff, all the CLG roster stuff. So check that out. All that
Plenty
specific
of
videos.
content.
A lot
Plenty
of content.
out there.
And we'll keep it coming once more teams get announced, players get signed, all that good stuff.
And we'll be back on Wednesday for 5v5 Live, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we usually are. On Wednesdays, we'll be talking more roster stuff. Maybe there'll be more rumors there. And again, once all these rosters are finalized in the EU and NALCS, we'll give you a power rankings from 10 to 1, looking at both leagues and who the top teams are going to be heading into the 2018 spring split. And there's also All-Stars just around the corner. There's
Scouting
the
grounds?
Scouting grounds. There's a whole lot of stuff. We didn't even talk about the Tyler 1 Championship.
Oh,
Stream
my
Dream
God.
Team, they lost. They blew it. They blew it. Voyboy was terrible. And Tyler 1's hilarious. But we'll be back on Wednesday. We'll see you guys at 2 p.m. Maybe we'll talk about that championship. We probably won't. But we'll be seeing you on Wednesday either way. Eric Kummel, Matt Hempstead, thanks for watching.